Okay, so today we're diving deep into this whole whirlwind around American Eagle, Sydney Sweeney, and a tagline that just, well, blew up online.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Seems simple, right?
Exactly. But it ended up making waves not just on social media, but even, surprisingly, in the stock market.
It's a really fascinating case. We're going to try and unpack how this denim ad basically ignited a huge cultural debate.
And what that means for brands today, in this digital age where everything gets scrutinized.
Plus, that really counterintuitive financial angle. We've looked at reports from NBC News, Newsweek, Teen Vogue, the Economic Times.
And even dug into a JP Morgan financial analysis to get the full picture.
Right. So the campaign itself, American Eagle, Sydney Sweeney, fall denim. The tagline was the hook.
How explicit was the wordplay, though? Did they really hammer it home?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't subtle at all. There was this one video on their Instagram, got over 1 million views. You see Sweeney, she's standing by a poster, says, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And then right there on screen, jeans gets crossed out, replaced with jeans. Pretty direct.
Wow. Okay, so no ambiguity there.
None. And in another video, she actually says the words. She explains what genes are passed down, determine traits like hair, eyes. Then the camera zooms in on her blue eyes, and she finishes with, my genes are blue.
Got it. So they leaned hard into the pun.
Definitely. The whole messaging was built around connecting those two words.
And American Eagle's own description, they called it bold, playful.
Yeah, they talked about her girl-next-door charm and main character energy, plus her ability to not take herself too seriously. That was the vibe they said they were going for.
Interesting. But amidst all this pun stuff, there was also a specific product launch, right? Something more serious.
That's right. The Sydney jean. It was a limited edition style.
Okay.
And it had this butterfly motif, which they said represented domestic violence awareness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they stated all the revenue from those jeans would go to the crisis text line.
So a genuinely positive initiative tucked inside this more controversial campaign.
Exactly. Which makes the immediate backlash even more striking.
Right, because the reaction wasn't just, oh, that's a bad pun. It went way further, didn't it?
It did, almost instantly, across TikTok, X, Threads. You saw these really strong accusations.
Like promoting eugenics, white supremacy, even Nazi propaganda. That escalated fast.
It really did. And it highlights how loaded that phrase good genes can be. Historically, it's directly tied to eugenics, that whole awful pseudoscience from the 20th century about biological superiority.
Right, the ideology that fueled things like forced sterilization.
Exactly, and was later echoed by the Nazis. It promoted this specific ideal, often white, wealthy, conventionally attractive as superior.
So using good genes, even as a pun.
It bumps right up against that dark history, and people picked up on that immediately.
There was an advertising expert quoted, Robin Landa.
Yes, she put it very bluntly. Said the pun wasn't just tone-deaf, it was historically loaded. And she warned that brands, even if they're careless, risk reinforcing these harmful ideas when they use language like that.
And did Sweeney's appearance itself play into the criticism?
It did for some critics, yeah. Her looks, blonde hair, blue eyes, that sort of old-school starlet appeal, were seen by some as reinforcing that specific traditional physical ideal.
Almost implicitly linking the good genes idea to whiteness.
Precisely. There was even this user theory, Operation Beige, connecting it to gentrification and eugenics. Very specific critiques about the subtext.
And then there was another layer of criticism, too, about the sexualization of women in ads.
Yeah, that came up strongly. Writer E.B. Johnson on TikTok made comparisons to those infamous old Calvin Klein ads with Brooke Shields when she was really young.
Well, right. Controversial even back then.
Very. And Johnson was questioning why adult women like Sweeney would, quote, willingly engage in media that echoes those kinds of moments, raising questions about agency, really.
Did American Eagle or Sweeney respond to any of this directly?
Nope. No public statement from the brand addressing the backlash, and Sweeney's reps were quiet, too.
Which, in itself, probably fueled more commentary online.
Well, most certainly. That silence became part of the story.
So, okay, massive backlash, historical context, sexualization concerns. But it wasn't everyone reacting that way, was it?
Not at all. And this is where it gets really interesting, culturally speaking. The reactions were deeply divided.
How so?
Well, it kind of became a flashpoint in the larger culture wars, Some users, particularly on the right, actually championed the campaign.
Really? Championed it?
Yeah, hailing it as like a blow to wokeness. They praised it for, and this is, quote, unapologetically upholding traditional white American beauty standards, especially without trying to be inclusive.
Wow, so leaning into the very thing others were criticizing.
Exactly. And you can kind of see this fitting into broader cultural trends people are talking about, like the old money aesthetic, maybe the end of the body positivity movement as we knew it, the rise of the trad wife thing online.
Interesting connections. So the campaign kind of tapped into these existing undercurrents.
Arguably, yeah, whether intentionally or not.
But there were also people pushing back on the outrage itself,
Right.
saying it was overblown.
Definitely. You saw comments like that Threads user who said, "This Sydney Sweeney outrage is so stupid, it's not a dog whistle, it's just marketing."
So a real split in interpretation. Marketing pun versus loaded message.
A stark split. And American Eagle's actions after the initial post were also parsed really closely.
What did they do?
Well, after posting a bunch of stuff with Sweeney, they put up a post with a different model who appeared to be non-white.
And the reaction.
A lot of comments immediately labeled it damage control. People were watching their response very closely.
And we should probably mention Sweeney's own public image going into this. That played a role too, didn't it?
It seems like it did. She'd already been associated with certain conservative symbols or trends in pop culture.
Like the hot conservative girl trend, being called a Republican cultural icon.
Right. Critics argued that pre-existing association just added fuel to the fire, making people scrutinize this specific campaign even more intensely. It added another layer of complexity.
Okay, so let's shift gears. Controversy, divided opinions, historical baggage.
Yeah.
You'd think this would tank their stock.
You would absolutely think that. But that's not what happened initially.
What did happen?
The stock actually briefly soared, like gains of 4% on the Thursday and Friday right after the announcement.
4% each day.
Yeah. And overall, it saw a jump of maybe 15% to 18% pretty soon after the launch. It even got labeled a new meme stock in some corners online.
A meme stock. So driven by online buzz more than fundamentals.
Kind of, yeah. That short-term surge seemed tied to the online attention, the controversy itself maybe attracting traders.
But didn't JP Morgan downgrade them right around the same time?
They did, and that's the crucial piece. Despite that rally, JP Morgan cut their rating on American Eagle from neutral down to underweight.
Okay, that seems totally contradictory. Stock is jumping, maybe getting meme status, but a major bank says sell. Why?
Because JP Morgan was looking past the short-term noise, analyst Matthew Boss pointed to some serious underlying problems.
Like what?
Things that hit the bottom line, big headwinds from foreign exchange rates and tariffs that was costing them like $40 million projected for the year.
Ouch.
Yeah. And issues with price markdowns hurting their margins. Plus, he noted that their spring and summer stuff hadn't sold that well.
So sales were already looking shaky.
Exactly. He mentioned an Anika 3% comparable sales decline. That means stores open for a while were selling less. And specific problems in key areas like shorts, swimwear, fleece. Basically, product and pricing weren't quite hitting the mark.
So the meme stock rally was just papering over deeper cracks.
It seems that way. Management even sounded cautious about the second half of the year, uncertain about planned price increases and how the fall holiday lines would do.
And the stock overall for the year, even with that bump.
Still down significantly, like 30% for the year at that point. So the campaign buzz was really just a blip on a much tougher financial reality.
Wow. So putting it all together, this whole episode really shows how potent brand messaging is now.
Absolutely, especially in this connected world. One tagline, even meant playfully, can tap into really sensitive historical stuff and political divides almost instantly.
It's a real lesson in unintended consequences, I guess.
For sure. And it underlines how engaged consumers are now, especially younger ones like Gen Z. They expect brands to be accountable, socially aware.
Yeah, it's not just about selling jeans anymore. The message, the values, how it lands, that all matters intensely.
It puts brands in this tricky spot, walking this tightrope. Even a campaign they see as playful can just explode.
So you have this tension, right, between maybe getting buzz, maybe even a short-term stock bump like AE did, and facing really significant cultural criticism.
Exactly. How do brands weigh that? What's the calculation? Attracting Gen Z is key for them, but at what cost culturally? It's a huge strategic question.
And for you listening, it makes you think about how you interpret these ads, right? How much does the intention matter versus the impact or the interpretation?
And the role we all play in shaping these narratives online through likes, shares, comments.
Potentially a lot to chew on.
Yeah.
So recapping this deep dive, American Eagle's Great Jeans campaign, seemingly simple pun.
That tapped into history, sparked huge online fights, and showed this wild link between culture and market reactions, even if those reactions were fleeting.
So a final thought to leave everyone with.
Maybe this. In a world where info spreads like lightning and history is literally a click away, what's the real responsibility of brands, of public figures? How much should they anticipate how their message could be read, even if they label it bold or playful?
Something definitely worth considering as you scroll through your feed today. Keep thinking about those hidden meanings and impacts in the media all around us.